It's 8:15. Let's start. People can join as they wish. All right. So let's just do our 3 prostrations for those who want to, and particularly for me, I need to before I start. So I'm just going to do that. All right. Okay. See what happens? You do a few prostrations and more people turn up. Okay. All right. And welcome everyone again. Okay, so let's just, before we start, let's just settle into our meditation posture and settle our minds as we reflect our day. So let's just go through physically first. Let's just check if you're sitting on a chair with your feet down, make sure they're in a parallel position and they're not sort of hanging down. And if they are hanging down uncomfortably, just prop a little cushion underneath yourself to raise up your feet a little bit. So your lower leg and your upper leg are at sort of kind of right angle. And check your pelvis, make sure that whole pelvic bowl needs to be kind of pretty upright. So we want the sacrum to be straight. So you can imagine that there's this string of radiant white light pearls running from the coccyx, from the base of the spine, all the way up through, maybe along the spine, up through the crown of the head. And just imagine that there is somebody above you, just lengthening your spine. You could actually imagine, if you wish, you can imagine that your spine is a string of pearls. And it's been very gently lengthened, putting some space in between all of those discs. And as you're very gently, being very gently lengthened, just notice the muscles just stretching and unknotting and relaxing. Your spine is getting longer. It's surprising, isn't it, how much we kind of crunch ourselves down. So just think of this idea of expansion. Head slightly tipped forward. Also do remember your shoulders over your hips. And the head slightly tipped forward. And if the head is tipped backwards or the chin is up and your shoulders are back over your hips, it does create agitation in the mind. So as much as possible, head slightly tipped forward and not too far down, otherwise you'll fall asleep. And the eyes are down, whether they're open or closed. Imagine a spot about 2 inches in front of you on the ground. And relax the jaw, tip of the tongue, roof of the mouth, and just have the hands in the meditation mudra. And in our tradition, this particular tradition, there's many ways of holding your hands in meditation. And if you have a particular way of resting your hands in meditation and it's not this, that's okay too. So just the right hand in the left with the thumbs touching. And there's something very grounding about this particular position of the hands, I think. And so just go to the crown of the head and we just relax the scalp, the forehead, and move to the back of the eyes, relax the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, temples, the ears, and the jaw again, and the mouth, the chin. Just move back to the back of the head and the scalp. Just relax your scalp there. And just notice every time you imagine you're just letting go of the scalp, your face relaxes again. Relax the neck, and the shoulders, and the chest, the belly, the arms, hands and fingers, legs and feet and toes. And just bring the mind to the breath and just notice this slightly cool air as you're breathing in. It's flowing over the outside of the nostrils. It's slightly warmer as you're breathing out. And bring the mind to the breath. Just breathing in and breathing out. As we contemplate our day, as it says on the website, we are creating negativity with our mind. So we can purify this. We can change our mind by creating positivity with our mind. So this whole process we're doing this evening creates an enormous amount of merit. It's purification practice. We are creating a lot of positivity in our mind, changing the way we think, taking responsibility. So we're doing this practice of purification practice of Vajrasattva in the context of the 4 opponent powers. So the first of these is the power of regret. So we sincerely regret. It's not guilt, this is regret. From the depths of our heart, anything that we have done to harm any living being on this day. So maybe think of if any interactions that you've had today that may have harmed another person or another sentient being. And maybe there's been nothing, but you might have inadvertently trodden on a bug somewhere. And you could think of specific actions of both your body and your speech. And then maybe just generally regret all the negativities. And so remember, just reminding ourselves again, the reason to regret is based on the logic of karma. So the seeds that we plant with our negative actions are going to ripen in the future as suffering in some form or another. So we just sort of, from the suffering that we're experiencing day to day, suffering that we're actually aware of, we don't like it terribly much. It's uncomfortable. So we don't really want to invite any more. So we'd like to pull these seeds out before they ripen. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, and broken my vows. So if we have Pratamoksha, Bodhisattva, Tantric vows, and for myself I have the ordination vows. So we just regret any degeneration of our vows or any breaking of our vows because we don't want the future suffering. And so we just think, oh, I'm sick of this suffering, so who can I turn to? So here we come to the second of the 4 opponent powers, the power of reliance. And here there's 2 little sections to this, refuge and compassion. So the first one is refuge. So we're relying upon, returning to the Buddha, the doctor, and this is the Buddha we see up here on the screen, is Buddha Vajrasattva. And we're not asking Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're asking for the methods, his methods that we can use to purify ourselves. So visualize Guru Vajrasattva above the crown of your head, about 2 inches above the crown of your head, facing the same direction as you. And so you can also imagine if you have a teacher or a trusted mentor, a friend, someone who you're learning Dharma from, you can imagine, or if you don't, you can imagine someone like Lama Rinpoche or His Holiness the Dalai Lama. This is the mind of this person manifesting in this aspect of Vajrasattva for your benefit. So he is made of this blissful, radiant white light, and he's sitting in a cross-legged position on a lotus. has this brilliant, beautiful, radiant radiant face. It's kind of looking at you and all sentient beings simultaneously with this incredibly compassionate, non-judgmental in this way, just accepting you as you are. And he has this lotus-like eyes. He has this very sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. He has his arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. His left is holding a bell representing wisdom. The right is holding a Vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion, and their being crossed represents the union of these, which symbolizes enlightenment, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. So I'll just say a little refuge prayer. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So this second little section is about developing compassion. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. And in this case, the very beings we have harmed and those beings who have harmed us. So you can think firstly of people that you may have harmed just recently or in the past, and just try and develop a sense of compassion for them. And then people who have harmed you. And this is sometimes a little bit more difficult. So you don't necessarily have to, at this point in time, think of someone who's given you a huge amount of harm, like great harm, because maybe it's a bit intense. But you can. But, you start by a little harm. Maybe somebody said something a little bit sharp to you that hurt your mind. So you can have compassion for them. Because the harm they've done to you is going to ripen for them as suffering in the future. So this is why you will have compassion. So you think, I must purify for the sake of all sentient beings. So next we come to the power of the remedy, which is the actual medicine. So this is where we get to do the practice. So first we do the purification of the body. So we just do this visualization. So you imagine Guru Vajrasattva with a huge amount of compassion sends this powerful white nectar kind of quite strongly from his heart. It arcs around and enters your crown, pouring into your entire body and filling you completely. And you can just imagine it keeps pouring in, and then it just forces out of the lower orifices of your body all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of this kind of inky black liquid, this kind of yucky liquid, and it disappears into space, not one atom left, and it doesn't pollute anything around you. So don't get a sense that you're just making everything mucky. You're not. It just disappears as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutame Siddham Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebowa, Sutokaya Mebowa, Supokaya Mebowa, Anarakta Mebowa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sutame, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebowa, Sutokaya Mebowa, Supokaya Mebowa, Anarakta Mebowa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sutame, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebowa, Sutokaya Mebowa, Supokaya Mebowa, Anarakta Mebowa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sutame, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva hum pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dura Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dura Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dura Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. So now be really delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is completely purified. And just imagine that there's nothing you could do other than be of enormous benefit to others with your body from now on. How amazing. So the next is a purification of the speech. And I just wanted to say here before we recite the mantra again, Lama Rinpoche says that you should, when you say ahum pe, you should really kind of spit that out. It's like pe. So like Rinpoche takes great delight in pe when he says it. So you just, so think of it like that as you're finishing off. So now Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra. And this is purification of the speech. It arcs round and then again quite strongly enters your crown, filling your entire body. And this time it forces up to the top of the body all the negativities of your speech. And this kind of like overflows from the top parts of your body and disappears into space, not one atom left. And so you can imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and the lying, talking about people behind their backs, and this is all purified by this powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dura Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dura Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dura Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dura Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dura Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dura Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dura Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta me bawa sawa siri me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva ahum pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is completely purified, and imagine that it's only possible from now on to be of benefit to others with your speech. So every time they hear your voice, the sweet sounds of your voice, it's of enormous benefit for them. So the next is the purification of the mind. Excuse me. And just think Guru Vajrasattva very compassionately sending powerful beams of laser light, this time from his heart chakra. And these arc around and they enter your crown chakra and they fill your entire being. And as LAMA YESHE says, just as when you walk into a room and you turn on a light, it dispels the darkness instantly. So just imagine the minute this light hits your heart chakra, all the negativities of your mind are instantly dispelled. So all your attachment, the neediness and the anger and depression, resentment, jealousy, bitterness, disappointment, all instantly dispelled, not one atom left. As we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokayo Mebowa Supokayo Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokayo Mebowa Supokayo Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokayo Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokayo Mebowa Supokayo Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokayo Mebowa Supokayo Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dina Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are totally gone, purified. So think now that this has happened, there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom, compassion and bliss. So this last recitation of the mantra is where we purify the subtlest imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. So this time we imagine that Guru Vajrasattva sends again light and nectar. And you can imagine that it's just light and nectar as we recite the mantra. Or if you wish, if you're kind of feeling brave enough, you can imagine the previous 3 visualizations, body, speech, and mind, either simultaneously or one after the other, whatever works for your mind. And we're imagining that we're eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind. So it's just kind of like an extra wash. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dira mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa anarakta mebowa sawasidi mepi yata sawa kama sutame sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dira mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mebi yata sawa kama sutta me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva ahum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dira mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mebi yata sawa kama sutta me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva ahum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dira mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa anarakta mebowa sabasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sutta me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva ahum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dira mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa anarakta mebowa sawasidi beyata sawa kama sutta me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva ahum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dira mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mebi yata sawa kama sutta me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva ahum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dira mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mebi yata sawa kama sutta me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva ahum pe. Now just imagine, just feel completely purified. Not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream, and even the subtlest obscurations to omniscience have been removed. So the fourth of the four opponent powers is a power of resolve, and this is a really crucial step, is this determination to not harm with our body, speech, and mind again. And without this determination, we're going to keep following the same old road, the same old habits, the same old negative habits. Keep falling down the same hole. So this determination, this aspiration not to harm again is like a beacon that guides us in different directions, in new directions. As Lama Rinpoche says, everything exists on the tip of the wish. So you can think of something that perhaps you'd like to work on. Maybe you have a thought that you continue to think, a negative thought about I'm not good enough, or I'm not doing enough, or not done enough. Or something small that you would like to work on. Maybe there's something you say to another person that's negative. You have other different habits. So just start simply. Maybe you can only refrain from something for like a minute, 30 seconds, overnight, whatever works for you. But make sure it's realistic for your mind. Try not to promise ourselves something that we can't achieve. So now to conclude, just imagine Guru Vajrasattva is completely delighted with us. So he wants to merge with your mind, melts into white light, and absorbs into you through your crown. And so you think, my Guru's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same thing. And LAMA YESHE calls this union oneness. So next, as Lama Rinpoche recommends, meditate on the emptiness of the three circles. So think, in emptiness there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So just as much as we understand emptiness, try and place our mind there for a little while, so we can think of all phenomena as being empty and that they do not exist from their own side. You can think of them as being things are dependent on other things, so things are dependent arisings. Things don't kind of just happen out of nowhere. And you can also think of things that just don't exist necessarily the way we think they do. We look at things through the lens of our own mind. So whether we're angry or happy or sad, it can colour the way things appear to us. So again, a little bit late, Mary. So let's go to dedication prayers. And so I'll we can just dedicate first to all the positive energy we've created by doing this purification to all living beings, thinking, may all the virtuous karma I have created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And then think, for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lam Sepa Rinpoche, you uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplished magnificent prayers, honouring the three jewels, saviour of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. And for Lama Ursel, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us and intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request, O Lama, please, please live long. So there we go again, purified. Now everyone who's in this part of the world can go to bed with a happy mind. And if you're anywhere else in the world, you can start your day with a happy mind. So lots of love, everybody. And thank you so much. So lovely to see you all. And I will see you on Thursday.